Hello friends, and welcome into my craft room. I am so grateful you all stopped in to visit with me today for these craft lessons. I love to make them easy and fun to follow, so I hope you find that these are enjoyable for you today. We are going to be making 6 farmhouse spring inspired craft projects using Dollar Tree supplies. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and remember, I'm also over on Instagram. Alright, now let's get crafting. Honestly, this is my all-time favorite glass jar at the Dollar Tree. I love the copper lid, and I did something with these a while ago. We're going to do something different for this episode, for this video. I am taking these jars, I took them outside, I spray painted them the moss green from Rust-Oleum, and after they were dry, we're going to go ahead and sand it to bring out the texture of that glass. I love that grid crisscross pattern. It is so beautiful, especially with that green paint. Go ahead and just rough up that top surface, wipe it down with a wipey, and in the end you've got beautiful storage jars that have that high-end French country farmhouse look. I was so excited to find these wall organization pieces. They're $5 each in the Dollar Plus section at the Dollar Tree. We are going to take 4 of them, 2 with the cork board and 2 with the dryer erase board, and we're going to bring them together with some wood glue and some hot glue. These units are so expensive at different stores, and even if these come together for $20, you are still saving so much money because these are well overpriced $20, plus the excitement of being able to customize it how you would like. So once I've got 2 of them glued together for the top and the bottom, I'm now going to bring those together. I'm again using some wood glue and some hot glue to joint them so that it has a long-term hold with the wood glue and a short-term hold as that hot glue keeps it in place while the wood glue dries. We're going to go ahead and bring them all together, and then I don't trust it like this alone. I want to support the back side of it, so I'm going to take one of these yard painter sticks, and we're going to just simply use some more of that wood glue and hot glue combo, stick that onto the seam of the back, and this is going to really strengthen it at this point. Now again, wanting to make sure the other joints are locked in nice and strong, I'm also going to come in with some painter sticks that are shorter. I think these are about 13 inches, 14 inches, I can't remember. But I'm going to go ahead and take some of that and glue the same combo onto the other joints. Now you can see that I did break off some of it. I just snapped it right where the handle part is. It snapped pretty easy, and then I just glued it into place. Now again, wanting to make sure it's nice and strong, I'm just going to pop some of my staples in with my staple gun. And at this point, we have built the coolest wall organization piece, and we're going to use some twine. I cut 2 pieces the same length. I'm going to fold them in half so that we have a little spot to be able to hang this up on a screw or a hook on your wall. And then I'm going to just simply staple that onto the wood and then add some glue to help reinforce that twine so it doesn't have any issues coming off. They have these beautiful canister jars, and I loved the size of this glass. Now we're going to put that lid to the side because we're not going to be using that on this project, but I love this glass jar because jars like this are super high-end at super expensive high-end home decor stores. So I'm going to show you how we're going to get that look without having to pay those ridiculous prices. This jar was $1.25. So go ahead and take your painter's tape, and you can see here that I've got probably about 1/3 of the jar at the bottom that I'm going to be leaving exposed. But from the rest up, the other 2/3, I'm going to cover that up with some painter's tape, take it outside, spray paint it a beautiful crisp satin white. Once that is nice and dry and you took off the painter's tape, go ahead and pick whatever floral you want. I'm going to be using some of these Real Touch tulips because I just love these things. I'll link them down below, but I just get mine from Amazon. Go ahead and gather them together in a cluster. As I work with them, I like to kind of zigzag the stem a little bit. That makes them look more realistic and falling all over the place in that beautiful jar we just gave some life to. Then go ahead and tie on a beautiful bow. I'll link this ribbon down below. I love this ribbon too. When I think of French country, I always think of crate baskets, the kind that you would put apples in, the kind that you would use on a farm. I just love these kind of baskets. And today we're going to learn how to make one really easy, really affordable. We're going to take 2 of these hoop rings from the craft section at the Dollar Tree, and we are going to take some of these jumbo tongue depressor sticks that you can get from Walmart. Go ahead and figure out the length that you want the basket to be, how tall, and then go ahead and cut off all the sticks going all the way around the smallest ring. It'll look like a little sunburst, just like this. Then we're going to start taking each one of those sticks and we're going to start to glue them on. The heat from the hot glue is going to warm up the stick, which is going to allow you to be able to press it down and to curve it around that circle band. So just hold it into place until the hot glue dries off, and then once you've gone all the way around, you're going to notice there's going to be one spot on here that is just a little bit too big for the spot. If you come across that problem with your sticks that you have, it's not a big deal. Just go ahead and take that stick and cut it down from the width of the stick. So you can see here I'm just splintering right up it. It is going to want to crack a little bit, so just keep your pressure going in the same direction and move your scissors around until you've got that width that you want. Go ahead and glue that one into place, and now we're going to work on the top band. Now, because this is a basket, it's going to need that pressure to be distributed at the top. So we're going to glue on the first stick and then go to the opposite side and glue on that stick on the opposite side of the ring. Then we're going to go the other direction. So just think north, south, east, west. We're gluing them across from each other to distribute that pressure from the bands that are stretching out from those sticks. Keep repeating that, going opposite ways until you get all the way around the crate. Now, if you don't like that there is these openings from the crate, you could always come in with more sticks and fill that all in. But I love that charm of Farmhouse, which is what that looks like to me. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it as is. Add some reinforcement hot glue inside of that crate. And now we're going to take some paint and paint it whatever color we want. You could finish the bottom if you want to use this to actually hold objects in it. I would recommend using some foam core. Go ahead and take your basket, and you can decide at this point whatever stencil you would like to use on the front. I am going to be using this beautiful French type design where it's a bumblebee and a beautiful wreath of leaves. Go ahead and take your time just patting that paint in there, and once it's all done and dried, go ahead and lightly distress. You can see here I'm coming in with some brown paint. I'm rubbing it in with my hand and just keep moving along. In the end, you've got yourself this beautiful crate basket for your home. We're going to take one of these mirror round frames from their home section. We need 3 of these smaller circles from these wooden bamboo circles, and then we need 8 dowel sticks from the crafting section. Go ahead and take your first circle, and we're going to measure it where it's a little bit off from being halfway in the middle to cut. And you're going to see here in just a second, one side is going to be a little bit shorter, and there's a reason for that. When I line up the top part of these together, you can see that it's shorter here. Why we needed to do that was so that one of them, the smaller one, is going to go inside our second ring, and then the other part, the longer one, is going to come over the top for the second part of the dome. And the reason why we need to do that is so that it makes it that full reach all the way over and around without it looking short on the sides. Now make sure you get everything in place before your hot glue starts to dry so that it's not crooked and it's where you want it to be. Now we're going to take those craft sticks. Be careful with this part because it's easy to burn your fingers if that dowel stick rolls in your fingers, but go ahead and glue 2 of them together, and then I'm going to just add some more glue in between that joint and go down it with some hot glue and a popsicle stick so that it's really stuck in place and nice and strong. Then go ahead and glue them on the inside of your dome that you created at the top, and you're going to now take a third one of those circles. And you can use embroidery hoops for this too, by the way. This totally works with the embroidery hoops as well if you can find the right size to fit in these frames. So you can see that I added a third one and I glued those on to the dowel sticks with that circle. And I'm going to go ahead and remove the mirror off of the inside of that frame because we don't want that piece in there since we're going to just be simply using the frame and the back cardboard piece. Go ahead and glue that piece on there and then add on some more glue around the sides, and you can see that these smaller circles fit inside of the frame perfectly. It was like they were meant to be together. Go ahead and paint your dome whatever color you want. I'm going to go with black so we have that beautiful antique farmhouse look, almost primitive farmhouse, which I just think that is such a beautiful look, especially around springtime going into summer. I love the black with the rust. So I added on some brown paint, some cinnamon. Once it was dried, I went ahead, dusted it off, and then I came back in with some black paint to touch up anywhere I felt like there was too much rust. I was online the other day. I love the site Antique Farmhouse, and I came across this beautiful artwork, but I did not want to pay $58 for it. So I headed to the Dollar Tree and picked up some supplies. We're going to make it today for just $7. Now we're going to be using a caulk that you can find in the home improvement section, 3 tubes of it, as well as one of these wood art canvases that are $3 in their Dollar Plus section. We're going to start by creating the vessel or the vase first. Now, if you don't feel comfortable freehanding this, you can always sketch it on with a pencil, and I'm going to show you how I do that with all the florals and the stems in just a second. But first, I want you to see that yes, we are going to be getting our hands messy with this one, but I promise you it's so therapeutic and so much fun. Oh my word, this project is so much fun if you love anything along the lines of painting and getting your hands dirty. So we're going to go ahead and take a pencil and sketch out a rough draft of what we want our florals to look like, which directions they're heading. Make sure to fill up the space of the art canvas, but don't forget to leave some open areas like our inspiration. It wasn't too heavy in every single spot, so we want to try to replicate that. Now you can see that the tips of these caulking tubes are different sizes. One is a little bit thinner and one is a little bit thicker. This is because we want to treat them almost like frosting tips when you're frosting a cake. It's going to give you the different shapes that you need, thicknesses, to be able to create those smaller areas versus thicker areas. Now you can see here I'm coming in with that thinner tip and I'm creating all of the branches, and I have a glass of water next to me. Caulk can be very sticky, and after a while your hands will be totally messy. So keep some water on you and some wipies, and then just keep playing with it. You can see I'm patting it down to make it look more branch-like. Now I'm going to move on to the florals. The florals are whatever pattern you want to do, and you can use any kind of tools on this that you have, some scrapers, maybe toothpicks, but generally I'm just going to use my hand, my fingers. So you can see that I'm coming in first with the initial shape, and then I'm going to scrape out anything from the middle that is too thick because we want to be able to see the texture of those petals. Then I'm going to come back in and pat down the different areas, dragging the caulk into the middle to create the outer rim thicker and the inner part of the flower thinner. Play around with it. This is so much fun creating these flowers. There are so many different flowers out there you can create with this project. And then for the buds, I'm just simply making dots and then coming back in and smoothing them as well with some water. Now I'm at the point where I'm going to make salvia or lavender, whichever one you want to call this. They kind of have the same shape. I'm going to just basically put a dot and drag, put a dot and drag. And as I'm dragging, I'm making it get smaller and smaller towards the very tip of it. And the drags also get longer. So you want to make sure you're stretching it out as you're coming up towards the tip of that flower. This makes the coolest texture, and all we're doing are making dots and dragging the caulk. Isn't this just so crazy? When you see the light hit it in different directions, it looks like real flowers. Now I'm moving on to the leaves. This is the third tube of caulk. I ended up cutting this one at an angle for the tip. This is going to allow me to be able to create more of that leaf pattern, but again, using the straight, smaller hole of the tip works as well. Now, whenever I had a spot that went out too far I didn't like, I'm just going to use the back of my nail and scratch along the board and mimic the caulk wherever I want it to go. That's going to allow you to be able to clean it up and make it still look nice and beautiful the way you want it to. Now you're going to notice that on my vase or vessel, whatever you want to call it, I did not end up putting a rim on the pot yet, and that's because I wanted to make sure I allowed a flower to be in front of it so that it had that layered look, and then I'm going to come in on the sides and create that rim. Now make sure you don't make everything too thick in here. I didn't want it to be standing up so high, so I'm taking out some that is too thick in certain areas. I want to get the shape and the thickness right, so just play with this part until you get it to the way you personally like it to look, and then don't be afraid to edit, meaning take away caulk if it's too much. Now we're going to go ahead and create the center of our flowers, which is a simple dot, and I'm going to just again come back in with my water, manipulate it so that it's looking the right shape, size, texture. And once it has dried, friends, this is the most important, crucial thing. Make sure it is completely dry, because you're going to come back in with a large paintbrush and you're going to paint the whole thing white. You could honestly paint it whatever color you want. You could do black too and come back in with a dry brushing white technique. Oh, that could be so beautiful too. So once it's all completely dry and you've gone over it with the white paint or whatever color you choose, go ahead and make sure you use a heat gun. Keep it moving around, dry it the way you need it to so it's completely dry. And now we're going to come in with a dry brush technique. This part is so exciting because all of your work starts to rise and look just like our inspiration. I had a blast making this project. I have so many more things I'm going to be making on my channel using these techniques, but I hope you give this one a try. So this is what mine is looking like around this point. Now let's look at our inspiration. Again, remember this was $58 and we made ours for $7. I love creating a beautiful home out of budget-friendly items to work with, whether it's from the Dollar Tree or a thrifted item, or maybe even making over something you already had in your home and it just needed a facelift. I hope that these ideas today really inspire you to look around your space and craft with those type of items to do it on a budget and to create a beautiful home for you and your family. If you enjoyed this episode, please do consider clicking the subscribe button. Thanks so much for stopping by, and until the next episode, bye friends.